Now, Sopra, this is the entity adjusted Sopra. What's going on with Sopra?
Sopra is our spent output profit ratio. We're looking at all the coins that are trading on a given day. The coins that are being spent today, you're looking at the profit and loss that those coins that are being spent today hold. So if a coin was, bought at 50K, it's now being moved at 60K. Well, that coin's realizing $10,000 of profit. If a coin was bought, at the Pico top at 69K, and then now it's sold down here at 63K, well, it's realizing $6,000 loss. So you're only looking at the coins that are being spent on each given trading day. And then you run the ratio between the profit and loss, and you get SOPR, which is spent output profit ratio. One is kind of that threshold where, if you divide one by one, it's neutral, right? So if the profit and loss is balancing each other out, then you're at one. Above that, the market's trading in a state of profit. Below, it's trading in a net state of loss. And so what you want to see in in bullish trends is coming back down and bouncing off that one threshold on any kind of major correction. In bearish trends, what you're looking for is a failed retest from the underside of one. And so what you'll see is, you can't see this on the chart, but we bounced off one in September of last year. We had a continued uptrend in the ratio. As you can see, I didn't label this actually, but you can see this bearish divergence where the oscillator was making lower highs as price was making higher highs.
Yep.
So that was kind of an early warning sign. We had this reversal, broke down below one. And that's what I have marked as that bearish break. So at that point, you can have a bearish bias, but you don't quite have absolute confirmation yet. Coming back down, that initial failed break above that range we were in over summer, we had that failed retest from the underside of one, and that was confirmation that we were in kind of a broader bullish trend. Got a second confirmation of the underside test of one, and then very shortly after, we actually got a bullish break above one. And so from there, then you have bullish bias generally towards the market, but we were once again waiting for that confirmation. We came back down and retested 40K about a month ago at the end of September, and that's when we got that bullish confirmation. Now we're kind of hovering, a bit above one. I would love to come down and retest, on some kind of correction and hit that one threshold. But when you go back to last year, after we had that retest after September, we had like a 25% correction right before the major phase of the bull run at the end of last year. And we never came back down and retested one again. We just continued an uptrend. So what I'm looking for is if we have a price correction to come back down and retest one. In general, though, I'm expecting this probably just to trend higher. And, as we get further into the bull run, I would be looking for another bearish divergence, as you can see we had on the left-hand side of the chart, when we were in like March, April kind of timeframes.
When we look at this UTXO realized price distribution, you've got it squared off and you said 18.36% of the supply. Why are you calling that out, and explain what this chart's showing us?
Sure. So this is realized price distribution. So we talk about realized price, which is the capitalization of Bitcoin based off the last time coins are moved. So, with this in mind, what this is showing is if a coin is last moved at 1,000, it's in the 1,000 bar volume. If it's then moved once again at 20K, well, now it's pulled out of the 1K bar and moved into the 20K bar. So that's where the realized aspect is coming from. You're essentially looking at where each denominated price level, how much of supply has last moved there. And so as you can see, above 50, I forget the exact number because it changes as supply increases of what exactly the price level is that the $1 trillion market cap threshold is, but it's above 53K. So I just cut it off at 54K. But roughly 18.36% of Bitcoin's money supply has moved above that $1 trillion threshold. And so to me, that's showing that there's confirmation from the market, from market participants, that this, asset class is here to stay, and that, Bitcoin is establishing itself as a maturing macro asset. I think, that 1 trillion threshold is kind of a line in the sand. As you can see, that's kind of where this cluster that we're currently in starts.
Got it. And when you look at this price distribution, that cluster, what are you looking to see happen over, like, say, the remainder of the bull market? Like, what is your expectation there?
The way I just see it is by definition, you're showing where a lot of market participants or capital inflows have come in. So ideally, these zones of volume are kind of support or resistance levels because they're levels where market participants have interacted heavily with. So if you're coming up from the underside to a large, cluster of realized price distribution, then saying that you're probably going to face some resistance, some people that are taking profits. And then conversely, if we're correcting, then I look for some of these zones as like support levels on the move down. So that's kind of the way I see it. But yeah, I mean, this will definitely change over time because you'll have coins that are in whatever 40, 50, in those price levels that are going to move once we go higher. So this is just something to watch in terms of like identifying where a lot of this investor behavior is going on.